This is WCIA 3 News at 6.
For the life of me, I cannot figure out how this has become a political issue.
The United States Postal Service has become the latest battleground for politicians. Good evening, I'm Jen Lask. With the already record-high numbers of mail-in voting applications coming in across the state, politicians in Washington are fighting over just how much money to send to the post office to help with the increase. WCIA 3's Cole Hankey joins us in studio. And Cole, we've been hearing a lot about the post office lately, but you've got an update from Washington.
Yeah, that's right. The U.S. House of Representatives just voted to send an extra $25 billion to the U.S. Postal Service. And meanwhile, here in Champaign, a mix of local and state officials called for a press conference to support that funding. Champaign County Clerk Aaron Ammons is expecting nearly half of the registered voters in Champaign County to vote by mail.
We anticipate of the 117,000 registered voters, we think the turnout is going to be somewhere around 95 to 100,000 people, and we expect anywhere between 40 and 50,000 people to vote by mail.
That is why he gathered both local and state officials to call for more funding for the Postal Service. At the same time, the U.S. House of Representatives met to vote on an additional $25 billion in funding for the USPS to help it get through COVID. Democrats are attacking President Trump and the Trump-appointed Postmaster General for what they view as attacks on mail-in voting to suppress the vote in the coming election.
The faith that people have now in getting their prescriptions on time, their letters on time, their paychecks, their anything to do with Social Security has been undermined because of this Postmaster General and because of the Trump administration.
But Congressman Rodney Davis sees these attacks as political opportunism. He called the claims that the Postal Service is not delivering essentials like medicines and Social Security checks on time a, quote, conspiracy that doesn't exist.
Our post office is going to do everything they can to make sure that nothing is affected when it comes to elections. I'm glad the Postmaster General is recognizing that, and I certainly hope going forward we stop playing games with our letter carriers and making people think they're not doing their job, because they are.
But State Senator Scott Bennett, who spoke at Ammons' event in Champaign today, said the president's consistent attacks on mail-in voting are proof enough that this is sabotage.
I would say that the moment the president says, whether it was live or through his Twitter account, that he's doing this largely because of his concerns about vote by mail, that's what makes it political, not those that criticize him. So
Davis and Bustos both voted for the bill, and so did Republican Congressman Mike Bost from Illinois' 12th District. He also said, though, that he doesn't see it having a chance in the Republican majority Senate.
All right, thank you, Cole, and keep us posted as they continue to debate over the USPS. Students across the state are returning to school either remotely or in person. The State Board of Education's guidelines provide guidelines for how to stay safe in schools, but the board will not be collecting data on reported cases. The Department of Public Health will be collecting that.
And those requirements are meant to really help mitigate and prevent the spread of infection. We do recommend strong partnerships with the Department of Public Health and the local public health department to inform decisions that are made at the local level.
If a student or staff member is absent one day, schools are required to request specific symptoms from the person so they can advise them on whether or not to return to the classroom. The Illinois Department of Public Health is announcing more than 2,300 new cases of COVID-19. That's the highest number of daily cases since May. Officials are also reporting 17 more deaths, and that brings the state's total to more than 218,000 cases and nearly 7,900 deaths. Illinois set a daily testing record in the past 24 hours with more than 56,000 tests. The 7-day statewide positivity rate is 4.3%. 20 counties are at a warning level within the state. Springfield police are looking for a driver who hit a child and then drove off Friday morning. 7-year-old Jack Thornley was riding his bike home from a friend's house down the street in the Palisades subdivision when a car didn't stop at a stop sign and hit him. Jax walked home and was taken to St. John's Hospital in Springfield.
Distracted, driving is a thing, and whether it's a phone or, driving while intoxicated or sleepy, just driving a vehicle unaware of your surroundings is not okay.
Jax is now home, and police are looking for a small white car with damage to the passenger side of the car. If you have any information, give them a call. Governor Pritzker is releasing guidelines for the state to follow when discussing energy policy. This comes after the federal bribery investigation into ComEd. The guidelines restrict the involvement of utility companies heavily. Clean energy advocates like the Illinois Environmental Council say they're happy to see these new rules.
For the past decade, the utilities have held they've been a major stakeholder. They've been the leader in getting this done. Nobody has said, should we raise rates? It's always been, how high should we raise rates? So I think that the debate in Springfield is completely different now.
The IEC is a part of a coalition pushing the Clean Energy Jobs Act. Advocates just revamped the policy, also giving utility companies less perks as the state moves towards its clean energy goals. Still to come on WCIA 3 News at 6. The Village of Atwood honors a local sports legend, how today's event helped descendants feel closer to Tug Wilson.
And we've been seeing gorgeous conditions throughout our viewing area throughout the day. And tonight we're going to be staying clear with temperatures dropping but staying right on target. But we do have a big warm-up in the 7-day forecast. All the details right after this.